Those of you familiar with my taste know that when they first announced the Digimon Pendulum color, I wasn't too thrilled with the option they chose for the Deep Savers version. The original that I had growing up was a blue and gray model. They chose to go with the blue and orange model, and I'm just not a big fan of the orange look, to be honest with you. So I took my Deep Savers Pendulum Z here and crossbred it with my Pendulum color so that the buttons and frames would be swapped between them, and I love the look of this so much more. That being said, I'm not done. There's more stuff to be done here, and honestly, I would like to restore this thing to its former glory. So we're going to give back both the buttons and the frame to the Digimon Pendulum Z. And instead of using those, well, I was actually sent by Jordan Vega some lovely, lovely options here. So he sent me a frame and buttons for the Pendulum color. Now, the bad news is I won't be using the frame. And I did already end up modding some other buttons and frames that he sent me onto the Wind Guardians Pendulum Z. As you can see here, came out great. This is what it looks like if they're both together. But for the Pendulum color, we're only going to be using the buttons. We're not going to be using the frame, and that is because I also have been sent this from Jawa's Junkyard, and you already know what this is because you clicked on this video, and this is a new shell. So we have here a Digimon Pendulum color metal shell, and as usual, looks absolutely fantastic, very shiny. You can compare it to the original there. Very lovely. Got speck on it. Get that speck off of there. Yeah, this looks absolutely phenomenal. And let me get the screws out of there so I can freely rotate this. Yep. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal looking. This is going right onto this, and I'm going to be using the buttons that Jordan sent along with it to make just a beautiful looking device. Those of you who have been watching me for a while may remember me doing this with the Digital Monster color as well as the Digital Monster X. I've got a few of these metal shells. I really, really like them. And yeah, definitely can highly recommend Jawa's Junkyard. I've bought several things from them and highly recommend that you checking them out if you're into this metal look. Very, very lovely upgrade to a Digimon Virtual Pet. So we're going to get right into this. We're going to go ahead and get this here unscrewed. We're going to get this unscrewed. We're going to get this unscrewed. We're going to unscrew almost every device I've got right here to be able to start making these moddings happen. So step one, let's get some unscrewing done. Okay, so we have the metal shell unscrewed, we have the pendulum color itself unscrewed, and we're going to carefully lift this back piece off because, as usual, it is connected to the speaker, as you can see right there. And we don't want the wires to come undone from that. We will have to, of course, remove the speaker from that back there, but we're going to not do that any sooner than we have to. So, we've got this part done. The rest of this is not as easy as the other types of pets are, especially the English pets, if that's the only thing you've ever modded. So there are a few things we have to do differently. If you've done a Digital Monster color, it should be pretty similar to that. Let's go ahead and take the keychain and keep it off to the side for right now. And we've got two board screws we got to work with, one right there and one underneath the battery. So we will need to lift the battery. We are going to be getting rid of this little flap, which will not be coming back on, but as a heads up, this thing on the Pendulum color was pretty piddly to begin with. As you see, there's nothing actually securing it into the USB port, so yeah, it wasn't the best anyway, so I'm not gonna miss that too much there. So let's get rid of you and carefully turn this around. So again, one board screw there. Let's go ahead and grab that one, and we will not be using the same board screws to get it into the new shell. There are specific screws that came with the metal device, so we're going to be using those instead. Alright, and now the battery, we're just going to gently lift that up. Got some mild adhesive on there, and we don't want to completely ruin said adhesive, so we're just going to do this pretty slowly so that it can also stick back down when we're done. Just very careful. Double-sided sticky tape is all that's in there. So if you do mess up the adhesive, you do have the ability to go back to by using double-sided sticky tape. All right, the battery is out of the way. That gives us access to the other board screw right there at the top. not going to put the battery back on just yet, but I am going to just kind of position it so that it's not in our way. And now is probably the best time to get the speaker out. So this is probably the most annoying part of the process right here of getting that out. So what we have to do is this little adorable little speaker here. It's got two nubs that are keeping it secure to the shell, and we got to get through both those nubs. So we're just going to be taking standard old razor blade right to that and get that done. So here we go. We can see that once we got enough of the nub cut into, it just kind of came off. And down here on the other side, let's turn that around. All right, that one gave me significantly more trouble. Like I said, this is the most difficult part of the process. So with those nubs out of the way, the next thing is just kind of try to get digged into the edge of the speaker container here so that we can get some lift out and pull it out. So it does have some minor adhesive around the sides. It's not too strong, and the speaker itself is thin, so you just want to be careful not to push too hard on that. Just take your time during this part. This is, again, the hardest part. No rushing, just take it easy and it will come out. Okay, we've gotten under it. Let's see if we can just kind of lift it out. Looks like this nub's a little bit in my way. Let's cut that out just a little bit. Give it some more clearance. Yep, coming. It is coming. You'll notice I started from the side with the digging into. I started with the side without the wires. Always recommend you do the same. Last thing you want to do is accidentally cut your wires and then have to deal with soldering after that. Can be repaired, just not my preferred method to go about this. Man, this one's really in there. Much more so than the last one I did with this, which was the digital monster color. And as you can see, it's that adhesive's holding on, but it's almost out of room here. Let's see if we can gently pull that now, give it a tug, and there we go. Speaker removed. All right, not too scary, right? Again, hardest part of the process. If you can manage that, at least you got this down. So that's all well and good there. So we're going to put away the razor blade. Now, as a heads up, we will want to make sure this is secure in its next shell. And to do that, I use hot glue. Super glue would probably also work, but I like hot glue because it feels less evil, less burning. Like, the super glue burns your fingers, and I don't want that going near this. And if I apply it properly, I'm sure it's fine. But hot glue I feel is a lot safer in general for this sort of thing. So that is what I'll be using to secure the speaker into its new shell. So, also in case you were interested, this is the little pendulum piece. Let's see, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, there you go. It's just a little rod inside of a plastic thing. The new shell also has that going on, but you know, metal. It's apart at the moment. Let's see. Oh, that piece. On the wrong side. There we go. And if we put this right back in, oops. You gotta have the rod secure in your hand as you put it in. There we go. So you can see it just fits in right there. It makes a nice metallic clack. But if you, for whatever reason, decided you didn't want that in there, well, there you go. That's easy enough to take out, no problem. I am going to remove it for now, though, while we get the speaker put in here in a moment. So we are going to do that after we have this affixed to the front of the new shell. So for that, we need the front of the shell, and we need the new buttons. So the new buttons should go very nice right in here. Let's see. Get this out of the way. There we go. Looking good so far. So great. And we should just be able to lift this off now. There we go. The buttons are already off from the last time we did this. So you'll notice also we have the screen there. We will need that here in a moment. We won't need this guy anymore. This has its own little thing for the USB port. Or cutout rather, I should say. Somewhere, wherever. There it is. On that side, there you go. It's got its own cutout for the USB port, so that shouldn't be necessary. At least I don't think it is. And we don't need this plastic top piece anymore because we will have a metal one to replace it. That came off really easy. Nice. Okay. With that, we're going to transfer the screen. And this is where if you have cats, make sure that they aren't in the room. Because you don't want this screen to be covered in fur. I need a spot to put this. Where's this? There. Go. I've been saying the screen. It's more like the screen cover, I should be calling it. Take that right out of there. Now is a good chance to clean this. It is looking a little grody. Let's clean this off real quick. We have fluids for just that. Handy. All right, on it goes. Let it in just like that. Use the edges to guide it to its posts. Yep, nice and easy. All right, next step is going to be attaching the metal top right here. Should just go on. Oh, that went on real easy. All right, and then we take the whole thing and put it into new enclosure. I think we got that pretty much right on target. We can see there's the buttons. The Jordan buttons have the little pegs in them to be able to fit onto the board like they're supposed to. And just look at it from the front. Looking great so far. Okay. So let's bolt this back in. Where's my screwdriver? There you are. And our two screws are around here somewhere. There they are. Hiding behind the Pendulum Z. Okay. So we'll lift up that battery again here. Gently screw that in. Start off just part way. Okay. Get the other. Deliver it to its post. Right over here. Okay, get that nice and tight. These screens are not pressure based like the black and white V-Pets, so you don't need to go too crazy with the pressure, but you know, you should make sure it's tight enough. Just gently push the battery back down. Looking good so far. The buttons have a little bit of clearance I need to take care of. Let's just use a screwdriver to do that. There we go. That worked real nice. Okay. Look at that from the front. Now, oh, hold up. Is that good? I might need to adjust that. Overall, looking good though. Before we do anything hasty with that, we're just going to see what this looks like put together. Not speaker not plugged in just yet. Yeah, it looks like we got to get that a little bit more adjusted. We'll take it apart slightly and get that taken care of real quick. Okay, upon re-securing it a second time, I will say this little, let me zoom right in on that. Make sure you can see it. There's a little post right here that goes into the board. Just try to keep it lined up as you screw it in. It doesn't like to be where it's supposed to be, it seems. So, just a heads up there as you're doing this. Let's put that battery back. Right where it was. Okay. As we can see, top piece is now properly aligned. That should allow it to fit together real nice. Let's test. Okay, yeah, that came together much nicer. Top looks good. A little bit here. Front looks good. Bottom looks good. Looks good from all sides. Perfect. All right, so with that being done, next thing we're going to do is put the speaker into the little slot that it has. So again, in that spot right there, put that right there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on two of the sides there just to keep it in place. Not going to do that on screen here because this area here is not big enough to handle it. So I'm going to go over to the desk to my right to take care of that. And when I get back, we will screw this whole thing back together. Okay, I return from the gluing area. See, there it is. There's my beautiful gluing job. Listen, I'm not a professional. I've never claimed to be a professional, but it's good enough. So now the speaker is nice and secure in there. You do want to make sure it's secure and not just, you know, loose in there, because looseness is what leads to some horrifying sounds from your device. So if you don't like that screeching to occur, make sure you do have your speaker nice and fastened in there somehow. So again, I use hot glue. What I'm used to, it's basically craft soldering, I guess. But I find it a nice, easy way to get stuff in there. There might be better ways, I don't know, but this worked great on my Digital Monster Color. It's working great here too. So with that being done, we are pretty much at the, just about at the finish line here. So we just got to put in our extra pieces here, which is going to include the, there it is, the pendulum first and foremost. I'll go right, adjust that camera a little bit there. All right, so pendulum in. Yep. And the keychain. There. This goes on. I think I've got a little more glue than I should have. Whoops, keychain came off. But, okay, once it's screwed in nice and tight, I'm not going to be too worried about it. So, get that done, shall we? So there's our screws right over there. As always, screws across from each other like changing a car tire. Is that important? I don't know, probably a little bit. I feel like I didn't learn that my whole life for nothing. I'm always going to do it. And never tighten all the way on the first pass. Some glue there. Yeah. That's the, like I said, the thing I love about super glue over, hot glue over super glue is that hot glue, despite being hot at first, doesn't hurt your fingers when it gets stuck to them. whereas super glue does after a while, but only if you're super gluing a lot of stuff in the course of a day, which sometimes I am. You never know. All right, so now we are doing our extra tightening. Make sure it's nice and secure. Now these all go in all the way. Okay, I think that might be it. Looking great. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so one thing I want to point out real quick while I'm here is that the USB port, right, does not have that flap anymore, so you are going to just have your USB port exposed, which may sound scary at first, though you probably leave your phone's USB port exposed, so not too crazy. And like I say, this little piddly thing, well, the one on the Digital Monster color ain't bad. The one on the Digimon Pendulum color, like, it would come loose from shaking, which is how bad it was. So what I am going to do, though, is I picked up some of these just off Amazon. If these work, I will put a link in the description. Yeah, there we go. There's a clear one like I want. And we're just going to go ahead and plop that right into that little hole right there. And bam, there we go. That worked perfect. The plug is covered. Obviously, it is not attached to the device in total, so I will need to make sure I leave it in a safe spot every time I change the battery. Comes out pretty easy too. Not too easy to where it's not in there. You see it's got a little groove in there to latch on to the USB-C port properly. And yeah, no, that works great. I have no issues with that whatsoever. Just, you know, keep it somewhere safe while you're charging. These things don't require charging more than once a week in most cases, so you should be able to leave it right next to the charger without having to worry about losing it. I'm not usually charging these in an emergency, but, and yeah, let's just shake it a bunch to make sure it doesn't come out. Yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, I'll put a link to these guys in the description as well in case you want to get some just like this. I bought 3 colors because this was, I think, the cheapest way to get the one I wanted. So, so yeah, that actually worked great. No issues there. And as for the actual mod itself, so let's talk about this thing. This is absolutely gorgeous. So in case you have not heard me talk about this before, yes, you have. Everyone's heard me talk about it a million times, so I'm not going to go into it. But Deep Saver's Pendulum was my first pendulum, and because of that, it always is a very special device to me. Not my first V-Pet, but it was what basically got me into V-Pets in a bigger way. And having it this color version that I was already super excited about the color version, having it in this metal, it just makes it, I don't know, just absolutely ups the premium feel of it, like, immediately. I don't have to tell you that. You know that. I've gushed about these things in the past. Let's go ahead and turn this on too, huh? So I'll hold down C button for a few seconds there. There we go. Yeah, buttons, by the way, by Jordan Vega, working great. Do I have anyone on this? I'm pretty sure whoever I had is dead. Yeah, we got a traded egg going on there. So buttons work great. No issues there. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, no, this is absolutely phenomenal. Love these things so much. Jawa's always does a great job. They have a funky, crazy purple one that's like all tie-dye. I am thinking about picking up that one as well. We will see. My only issue with it is that as much as I love the color, it doesn't really match the aesthetic of the devices I care about most. So it certainly doesn't match Deep Savers too well. It doesn't match the Wind Guardians one too well. I can see it matching Nature Spirits though. I might get it for Nature Spirits. We'll see. Like, Kuwagamon's kind of pink. So I might do it for that. No, for Deep Savers, this blue is definitely the one I wanted. And the color that we have here now, this is my ideal. Absolutely. I love this. It looks just overall fantastic. So I got the bright blue metallics. I got the light blue buttons there. This is a one fine looking device. So very happy with how this turned out. If y'all are interested in this, link is in the description, of course. Jawa's Junkyard. They do amazing work. They are well worth the price for getting one of these. So I, yeah, cannot recommend them enough. They have once again outdone themselves with a beautiful, beautiful product. So very much looking forward to running this again with this new setup here. I'm going to go ahead and take these buttons and frames out of my color I was using before, swap them back with the Pendulum Z. I'm not going to do that on camera because that'll make for too long of a vid. But if you are interested in seeing the process for modding a Pendulum Z, this guy here, we did a stream recently on that. That stream is on my channel, so go check that out. It should be like the most recent video from the time when this comes out. So yeah, that's going to do it for now. So hopefully this was an interesting look for those of you who are looking to mod your devices or looking at getting one of these shells. Thank you very much to Jawa's Junkyard for supplying this, and thank you to Jordan Vega for supplying the buttons as well. Very happy with the way this turned out. So if you do have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. Feel free to hit me up on the Discord server. And until next time, bye.